offer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the Boutwell Auditorium in Birmingham, Alabama. Tonight, SEG Sports presents the only event of its kind. The only event where 10 of the world's best fighters will compete in the ultimate testing ground, the Octagon. Birmingham, Alabama, it's time to begin the Ultimate Fighting Championship! Our first bout begins our middleweight tournament. Standing to my left, hailing from Riga, Latvia, he's the 1986 and 87 European boxing champion, the 1992 WBO champion, standing 6'4" and weighing in at 197 pounds. Fighting out of Brooklyn, New York, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Yuri Vaulin. And his opponent from Rio de Janeiro, he's a 5-time Jiu-Jitsu champion of Brazil, a 3-time Jiu-Jitsu champion of South America, and a 2-time Pan Am Games champion in Judo. Fighting out of Huntington Beach, California, standing 5 feet, 11 inches tall, and weighing in at 199 pounds. Please welcome Joe Moreira! And when the action begins, our referee for the evening is Big John McCarthy!
John McCarthy from Camarillo, California, tactical instructor at the Los Angeles Police Academy. 10 years in the martial arts game. He's done over 100 no-rules fights. Third man in the octagon. A big presence.
And he is good. He is very concerned for the safety of the fighters.
Moreira and Vaulin as we get going here in the UFC number 14.
And it's a question of distance. If he gets close enough to punch, Moreira's close enough to cinch, and that's exactly what happens.
He grabbed an ankle and he took down Yuri Vaulin.
Vaulin doing a pretty good job here, keeping his hips sliding, but Moreira should be able to cover the legs, get to a mount.
Moreira glad to be in a weight class after fighting Paul Varlins and giving away 105 pounds.
And in this kind of a game, it's a slow process. You gain inches at a time, but you do it confidently and patiently, and you eventually put yourself in a position where you can strike. And that's exactly what Moreira's doing. And with 30 years of experience, you can bet he knows the game very well through reaction and instinct, and that he'll take his time until he feels he's got Vaulin in a position where he can go ahead and hit.
And he never really got a chance to employ his attack in the fight against Varlins, but here he is at his best on the mat. Let's see what he can do against the Dolph Lundgren lookalike. Moreira, 5-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion and a 2-time Pan American Judo champion. And Moreira working on Vaulin. In close to the face, trying to score. Fighters required to wear gloves now, part of some of the new UFC rules changes, once again with safety in mind.
And there's no hair pulling, no strikes to the groin, and most importantly, no kicking when you're on the ground. You can kick on your feet, but no kicking on the ground.
Moreira continuing to work on Yuri Vaulin's face. Doesn't want to lose his leverage and balance, but trying to score whenever possible.
Without a doubt, and he's doing a pretty good job here, but Moreira definitely is just waiting and taking his time. Doesn't want to blow a lot of energy. He has another fight tonight. The winner has another fight tonight, and if he wins, he wants to have some energy. So he's taking his time and let Vaulin get arm weary by throwing all this leather that's really meaningless. It's not doing any damage, and it's not really helping him get out of his predicament.
Vaulin fears no one. He grew up on the hard-scrabble streets of Riga in Latvia.
You can see Moreira there with his ankles hooked around the legs of Vaulin. That's called a double grapevine in wrestling. What it does is it effectively grounds out your opponent's hips, keeps them down on the ground. And if you keep his hips down, he's not going anywhere. He's grounded as well.
A couple of elbows landed by Joe Moreira. And Vaulin just hanging in there, trying to chop away whenever possible to Moreira's midsection.
The chops are never going to get him anywhere. What he needs to do is free his hips first before even thinking about throwing a punch. And by taking all of that energy and throwing it into wasteful punches, he will give Moreira opportunities.
12 minutes plus a 3-minute overtime if necessary in the semifinals and finals. Moreira with a short headbutt. Moreira trying to land, and Vaulin again just going back to the midsection. Moreira losing a little balance, but each time Jeffy secures his weight.
Yeah, as long as he's got that double grapevine locked in there, unless Vaulin can hit a supreme arch, a real high bridge on the back of his head and his feet, there's no way he's going to shake Vaulin here. No way in the world. He's got to do something about freeing up a leg and turning to his side and cause Moreira to adjust his balance, and as Moreira adjusts, you move again, and it's a game of give and take until the opening's created.
There's Alan Goes, the 8-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion, the Pan American champion, the 5-time Brazilian Judo champion. He's the trainer of Joe Moreira and a heck of a fighter as well. We might see him in future UFCs.
So he'll see a little bit of training here with Joe Moreira.
Joe came to the States in '92 to teach with Helson Gracie after studying jiu-jitsu and judo in Brazil.
Now he had a chance there. It seemed that Vaulin had a body lock.
Oh, he's getting anxious now, landing a couple of elbows and a couple of right hands.
Quick, sharp combinations, and then he goes back to the rest phase. Smart tactic on top. Classic Brazilian jiu-jitsu.
Jeff doesn't want to tire himself out, but he wants to score.
He's scoring, and he's also forcing Vaulin to spend lots of needless energy on the bottom with those wasteful punches. Vaulin should be concentrating on his hips.
Vaulin is glad it's Vaulin and not Vaulin.
That's correct. 100 and some odd pounds difference there.
Oh, there's a couple of shots to the face of Vaulin. So Moreira being very opportunistic and efficient.
That's the key word, is efficiency. Moreira being 35 years old, his experience tells him not to waste energy, and his body tells him he's got probably limited energy with the age of 35.
Couple of quick hands by Moreira and then a headbutt. So we're seeing a textbook exhibition here of riding and scoring.
Mounting and scoring would be a better way to say it. But you're right, it's the same as a ride in wrestling. Control the hips, keep them grounded, look for your opportunities, clear arms, get shots in.
Hey, you're the master of wrestling verbiage. Crowd is booing, but this is Joe Moreira's game. He's a jiu-jitsu specialist. This is where he excels on the mat, and he's not being lazy in any regard.
Now he's working. It's not the fastest pace we've seen people work at, but he gets his shots in, then he takes a rest, waits for the opportunity again, takes his shots. Really, it's Vaulin here who's really not doing anything except for those chopping punches, which is all the boxer knows. He does not have enough experience, it appears, at all to mount any kind of a counterattack to get off of the ground.
And you would think for the Brazilians, the longer the fight, the better chances that they win when they are that good in jiu-jitsu. Again, it's just a couple of punches to the midsection or the back of Moreira, and that's it for Yuri Vaulin on the bottom. A left hand got through by Moreira. That grapevine, Jeff, is a terrific anchor.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, Vaulin cannot move as long as one of those legs is in, hooked around the ankle. He can turn one leg, but he can't get his hips away from being flat.
Almost
he can't
7
get to
minutes
his side. Yeah, 7-minute mark, and it's been all Moreira.
12-minute time limit, then there'll be a 3-minute overtime if needed. And if we have to, we'll have 3 judges score the competition. Can't pick a tie, you gotta go one way or the other, so you always have a winner.
You see Moreira being high in that ride, high in the mount. That keeps really Vaulin from being able to hit him with any kind of a punch. He's throwing punches over his own head. And how many times has he done that? Moreira raising up briefly, throwing a combination, a couple right hands, scoring, and then coming right back down, closing the distance. And again, he'll wait for an opportunity to strike.
Moreira started in the martial arts game at age 5. His older brother got him started, developed a passion for the art, which kept him off the harder streets of Rio. The only Gracie he's ever lost to is Hickson Gracie, who's a good friend of his. And he's fought a lot of Gracies over the years. And I'll tell you something, Jeff. If Moreira wins this bout, it's not going to help him in the final because he's expending a lot of energy here.
Well, he is out there for the duration, but as far as expending energy, no. He is in the top position. He's not having to carry any weight. His legs are locked, his knees are wide, so he's got a good base, so he's not really having to scramble at all. It's just a matter of how much energy he throws into those punches. He's been highly efficient. You said that word. That's exactly what this 35-year-old is accomplishing.
Are we seeing from Vaulin lack of a game plan or guts?
We're seeing from Vaulin lack of experience in ground attack, and that's purely based on the fact that this man has got 273 boxing matches. Incredible boxer, but it's not enough in a mixed martial arts competition, and he's finding that out the hard way here, spending the entire time on his back and the frustration of not being able to bring your strength to bear, the skills of punching.
So we're almost 9 minutes into this 12-minute period.
Vaulin needs to arch his back. He needs to go up on his head and try to literally buck Moreira off. Get some distance between the hips, and maybe then he can turn his hips and start a scramble where he might be able to get back to his feet. But as long as he lets his back lay there and Moreira keeps a single grape, at least one of those grapevines in, he is not going to be able to get off his back. He's going to have to continue to fight this kind of fight.
Well, Moreira is known for submissions, particularly arm bars, but he hasn't seen any opportunities. And Big John McCarthy is going to restart the fighters, and he's got that ability as the man in the octagon to restart if there's a lack of effort, a lack of movement by either of the fighters or by both, essentially. And that's what John's doing here. So it's a restart. Here's a chance for Vaulin. He's got to try to get a punch in on his feet.
Well, at this point, yeah, he's going to have to be careful now. Is he so tired and frustrated that he's just going to throw bombs and let Moreira get into him again? Or is he going to be patient, try to measure Moreira, hit some jabs, throw some combinations from the outside, and work hard to set him up, not look for just one big punch?
Well, let's see if the boxer can score. He's got to be opportunistic, but nope, there goes Moreira. Takes him down immediately, goes to the side mount.
And once again, the boxer forcing the issue, closing the distance for the grappler, led to that takedown.
You know, there's more of a sense of urgency here than in boxing. If you got to throw a punch, you got to do it quickly.
That's very much the truth when you have a mixed martial art competition. The ground attack neutralizes the standing attack.
And here we are. Have we been here before? Almost 12 minutes have expired, and if it is, we'll go to a 3-minute overtime. Another chance for Vaulin to restart from his feet.
About a minute and a half left before we reach that overtime.
Moreira with short little chops.
And that's been his trademark thus far. That is what has really been his main game plan, is to get quick, short punches in and then conserve energy and wait for the opportunity again. He really hasn't worked too hard to try to clear one of the arms so he can bring one of his best arms to bear in terms of raining punches down. Pass one of Vaulin's arms across his chest, lay on it, and then strike with the free hand.
The multitude of short punches are more a nuisance than anything else to the man on the bottom.
That is correct, and really the punches that Vaulin's throwing from the bottom against Moreira don't even add up to a nuisance. I look at them as more of a waste of energy because they're really not being used in any effective way to set up getting out of the bottom or set up trying to inflict some damage with the punch directly to Moreira's head.
Under a minute to go in this 12-minute time period. If it ends at the end of the 12-minute period with nothing in terms of submission or victory, we will go to a 3-minute overtime. And it's been this pattern from the beginning. Joe Moreira controlling, Yuri Vaulin on the bottom.
This is exactly what a Hoist Gracie would do. He would protect, he would wait for the opportunity, and then he would go ahead and launch his strikes. Moreira, classic Brazilian jiu-jitsu player, doing that very game plan.
Hoist set the standard by winning UFC 1, 2, and 4. Marco Ruas captured UFC 7 in Buffalo. And now we'll go to a 3-minute overtime.
All the way up.
Once again here, Vaulin will have an opportunity
Back to your corner.
to throw punches from his feet. And you can see Vaulin is clearly frustrated. Threw his arms up and threw his head in his corner, and he's wondering how can I go ahead and fight this style. He is totally out of his element.
Moreira looks pretty good.
Moreira's doing enough. You're right, Bruce. He does look a little bit tired. That could be due to age. He's 35 years old to be in the fight game. That's pretty tough age. Kudos to George Foreman for being able to hang in there for so long.
I need a signal from...
So the two guys getting set for the 3-minute overtime period. On your left, Yuri Vaulin, and on your right, Joe Moreira. Second appearance in the UFC, first since UFC 8. People were disappointed. They thought Moreira had a great chance to win that tournament, but Paul Varelans changed all that in one quick bout.
And we are seeing that style, individual styles, mean so much and can be so effective that even on paper, you can defeat a better fighter just because your style matches up well.
You know, some people said that Yuri Vaulin was the best boxer ever to enter the octagon. We just have not seen it.
You ready to go?
At this point,
you ready to go?
Let's get it on. Come on. Credentials coming in as a boxer. But really, with the lack of any kind of cross-training, he's so vulnerable to that ground attack that he falls prey to it easily. He puts that right leg out so close to Moreira, and he's not throwing any punches behind it.
Vaulin. And there goes Moreira. Double leg, ended up grabbing just the one leg, and back he goes to the side mount. It's almost a repeat.
The effectiveness of takedown is better than good punching. Take that guy off the ground. Really punching, you got to take him out with one punch. Otherwise, one takedown, you're on the ground, you're eating fist from above.
But punching also means you got to throw it. You can't just hold it behind there and not fire.
And that's exactly what Vaulin did. He never really got off at any one of the 3 times he was on his feet. And now Moreira back in the double grapevine. He's going to be very content to stay here. Certainly on points. He has dominated this fight. He'd probably like to end it just to conserve some energy, but what I think we'll probably see him do is be content in his performance thus far and just ride Vaulin out and end the fight.
Todd Butler, Kevin Jackson just ahead as the middleweight tournament will continue. You've got to win 2 in one night to win the tournament. And it's all Joe Moreira. He's had 2,000 plus career fights. He says, this is my life. I want to fight.
Well, certainly anyone that thinks this is real violence, there hasn't been a whole lot of attrition at all in this position whatsoever. This is skill. This is the difference in disciplines being played out by these athletes. And in this particular scenario, the jiu-jitsu player is dominating the boxer.
Moreira looks up to Marco Ruas, Vitor Belfort, and Rickson Gracie. And following the classic Brazilian jiu-jitsu stylists of the past, should be on his way to winning a unanimous decision from our judges here tonight. 3 judges will render the decision.
Smart fight by Moreira. Very smart fight by Moreira. Didn't get overly aggressive. He's going to conserve some energy. He'll have some great time to be refreshed for his next fight. And best of all, he's very composed. He's not losing it. He doesn't feel he's had a bad performance. He knew what his abilities were, and he used them to the maximum potential that he could.
Well, that octagon has 750 square feet of space, 32 feet across. They didn't need much more than about 50 square feet of space for this one.
Well, really, I think Moreira could have had the opportunity to hold Vaulin in even a smaller space than that. So dominant are his grappling skills over the boxer.
Final seconds of overtime. And that is it. So it ends up at the time limit, 12 plus a 3 overtime. A chorus of boos from some of the fans here in Birmingham. Vaulin did what he wanted to accomplish, I guess, which was last the 15 minutes. And Moreira did what he wanted to do, which was win. And I'm sure it will come out that way. Michael D. Pasquale Jr., Jeff Mullen.
It's okay. You did a good job. You're tough.
Michael Plott will give the
tough man, buddy.
decision. Bruce Buffer, our Octagon announcer, will take us through the procedure where the judges render their choice. And to me, Jeff, this is a no-brainer.
Well, up to now, we haven't had many crazy decisions in the UFC where there was a close fight or a fight that we thought somebody dominated and it wasn't the decision we expected.
Let's go to Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after overtime, we are forced to go to the judge's decision. We have a unanimous decision for the winner, Joe Moreira.
No surprise there. Alan Goes and company, they're happy. They're going to the finals. Manager Mark Hines, trainer Alan Goes, and the winner, Joe Moreira.